We continue now with our week-long series on summer stocks, a look inside companies that thrive during the summer and depend on the warmer weather for their biggest sales. Today we're looking at Winnebago and Thor Industries, two top makers of recreational vehicles, RVs, facing a very bumpy road right now. Check it out. Winnebago stock down almost 50% year to date. Thor Industries down about 14% in the past 2 days alone. Our next guest is the only analyst with a buy rating on Winnebago. Joining us right now to talk about them is Craig Kennison. He's a senior analyst at Robert W. Baird. Craig, good to have you here. So what's wrong with these stocks?
Well, frankly, the consumer hasn't come back like a lot of people expected. I think there's just, broadly speaking, a severe lack of confidence among consumers and among dealers.
Are they just worried about those high gas prices? I mean, I don't know how many gallons it takes to probably put in one of these, but it's got to be pretty hefty and cost a lot. We've seen gas prices, while they've come down maybe recently or very recently, they've been pretty high.
You know, gas prices are a common concern, and we would not dismiss that. But I would tell you that the RV lifestyle is very affordable. And if you were to go to a campground today, you would see it full of RVs. It's not that people aren't living the lifestyle, it's that they're not going out and buying a brand new RV. And that's the issue for Winnebago and Thor.
I wonder what the problem is, too. I mean, we see such a surge in car sales, and we've just been talking about the fact with Michael Yoshikami that people are in the midst of a replacement cycle, buying new cars or at least buying new used cars to replace the cars they had. We also see record sales for luxury cars. Ferrari, for example, we're going to talk about later, but also Mercedes, BMW, Audi. I mean, across the board, luxury car sales with huge price tags are up. So why aren't these very expensive vehicles? I mean, is it just a unique segment of the market, people who buy RVs?
Well, we should clarify. The RV industry is up this year. It's up year to date. Thor reported sales up 16%. Just wasn't as good as we thought it would be. Clearly, the consumer is stressed, and although we're seeing a recovery in automotive, it's not to the extent we expected it, or anyone really expected at the beginning of the year.
But what kind of consumer are we talking about? I mean, these aren't, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 vehicles. We're talking about $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a pop, right?
Well, Thor would sell something as low as $10,000 or $20,000, but when you're talking Winnebago, you are talking anywhere between $70,000 and $200,000 or $300,000. And to make a purchase like that, you need to feel confident. Otherwise, you're going to stand pat with what you have. And what we have here is a crisis of confidence in the country.
Well, you know, and what's interesting, Craig, we talked earlier about J.P. Morgan cutting their 2012 first half GDP forecast to 2% versus 2.5%. I mean, I don't see the forecast getting more optimistic out there. They seem to be getting less optimistic. What does that mean for these industries? If so much is reliant upon consumer confidence, if there's not confidence now and it doesn't look like there may be down the road, what does it mean for these players?
It's really tough in the present environment. If you're Winnebago, you're trying to sell a dealer who doesn't want to stock inventory, and you're trying to sell a consumer who is afraid to spend money. If that situation is going to persist forever, we are in trouble. But confidence tends to ebb and flow, and I think we're at a point where it's at a very low level, and that's the opportunity we see in these stocks.
Are they still doing all right, though, at the highest level of this segment? Because I can understand consumers who are going to buy a $10,000 or $20,000 RV may be looking to save money and reconsidering a purchase like that. But if you're going to spend $300,000 on something to go to a race with or to go to a polo match with, I mean, you already have enough money that you're maybe not as concerned.
Well, I would tell you that consumer has wealth, and right now that consumer is not sure whether they're going to get to spend their wealth or whether it might be redistributed. And we don't take a view on the political consequence of that, but certainly that consumer is thinking about how their wealth is going to be allocated. And that's, I think, fundamentally the concern in this space.
We're going to run. Hey, Craig, thank you so much. Craig Kennison over at Robert W. Baird. He's a senior analyst over there.